I, Anna Osei Asare, solemnly affirm that the evidence I shall give before this committee, touching the matter in issue, shall be the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, So do I affirm.
Honorable Minister, you're welcome with your team. Kindly introduce yourselves to the committee.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, today, Ministry of Finance is here with its agencies, Controller and Accountant General, and Ghana Revenue Authority. My name is Abno Sayasare, Member of Parliament for Itiwa East, and Deputy Minister of Finance, representing the Minister of Finance for today's event. And I used to be a former member of the Public Accounts Committee as well.
Honorable Chair, my name is Maxwell Opoku-Afari, First Deputy Governor, Bank of Ghana, representing the Bank of Ghana. I'm here with my team.
Good morning, Honorable Chair. My name is Amishadai Owusu-Amwa, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. I'm here with Reverend Amishadai Owusu-Amwa, Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Thank you, Honorable. I'm here with my team. Okay, you can take it. Okay.
Honorable Chair, my name is Daniel Edisi, Deputy Commissioner, Operations, Domestic Tax Revenue Division. General, thank you.
Honorable Chair, my name is Joseph Dazi, Deputy Chief Executive responsible for Commercial Operations, GNPC. Honorable members, let's also introduce ourselves. So let me start from Honorable Bawa.
Good morning. I am Alhaj Mohammed Bawa Brahma, representing the good people of Idrissa Chedumasi and a member of this committee.
Good morning. My name is Kofi Adams, MP for Buim and member of this committee. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman and Committee. My name is Samuel Nate George, Member of Parliament for the Ningo Pram constituency and a member of the committee.
Hello, my name is Samuel Atamils, MP for Commander Edina Egwafo Abrim, and a Vice Chair of the committee.
Good morning once again. My name is James Kluche Avaji. I'm the MP for Katunob and the chair of this committee. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you. My name is Roxy Nelson Dafamakbo. I'm the MP for South 9, member.
My name is Samson Tangon Buchregia, MP Nevrongo Central, member. Let me inform the group that the Commissioner General is my former boss.
My name is Suleiman Yusuf. I'm the MP for Bole Bamboy and also a member of this committee. And since STC has introduced himself to be a former worker with GRA, let me also announce that Reverend was my MD when we were working with Unibank. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sofia Karinakwaku, MP for Domia Braubum, and a member of the committee.
I'm Peter Yakwachiaka, MP for Memphis Central, member of the committee.
My name is Alexander Kumsen, represent the Audit Service.
And I'm Chris Dukoso from the Audit Service.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to the Public Accounts Committee public hearing. The committee is holding this public hearing to discuss the report of the Auditor General. The title of the report is Reports of the Auditor General on the Management of Petroleum Funds for the year ended 31st December 2020. The Petroleum Revenue Management Act of 2011 at 815. By that act, the Petroleum Holding Fund was established to receive all petroleum revenue, and how this revenue received will be disbursed. Sorry. So, as part of the law, the Ministry of Finance is mandated to supervise the collection and disbursement of the petroleum revenue. And other agencies under the ministry play various roles. The Controller and Accountant General, the Bank of Ghana, the Ghana Revenue Authority, all play roles in the management of the petroleum revenue. GMPC is also a beneficiary of petroleum revenue to cover their costs and their interests they have in the oil that's being produced. Now, the same act mandates the Auditor General to audit the fund and report to Parliament. And Parliament should discuss the findings of the Auditor General. And for that reason, we have summoned you to come and respond to the issue raised in the reports of the Auditor General for his 2020 audits. So I'm going to give the floor to the Deputy Minister of Finance to give us his opening remarks, after which members will find out from you and your team based on the findings of the Auditor General. So, Honorable Minister, the floor is for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the Ministry of Finance and its agencies, I'd like to express our gratitude to you and the committee for this invitation. The Ministry of Finance takes the reports and recommendations of the Auditor General seriously as part of the expenditure management interventions of the government. And in this regard, the Ministry has taken steps to address the issues contained in the Auditor General's report on the management of the petroleum funds for the financial year ended 31st December 2020. Mr. Chairman, there are, however, a few concerns that the Ministry and its agencies would like to bring to your attention as part of the infractions cited in the Auditor General's report. So I'd like to isolate just two of the items. One has to do with the 31 upstream companies registered by the Petroleum Commission which according to the audit report on table 6, page 17, have not paid corporate taxes. Honorable Chair, as indicated by GRA, Ghana Revenue Service, to the auditors during the audit, all the 35 upstream companies who have been allocated petroleum blocks to operate pay surface rental fees into the petroleum holding funds. Regarding the corporate taxes, it was mentioned that 4 companies pay corporate taxes into the petroleum holding fund because they produce and sell crude oil and therefore generate income from their petroleum operations, which they pay their corporate taxes into the petroleum holding fund. However, the 31 companies have not yet paid corporate taxes because they are either in the exploration or development stages in their operations. They are yet to produce any crude oil for sale and therefore have not generated income from which to pay corporate taxes. And this is in line with Section 63 and 65 of the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896. So Ghana Revenue Authority therefore conducts cost audits on some of these companies and take note of the cost build-up as indicated in Section 65 of the Income Tax Act 2015, Act 896. So Ghana Revenue made available completed comprehensive tax audit reports for all the companies who generate income and therefore make payments into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Mr. Chairman, there's available information on the other 31 companies that were cited in terms of, and is available to GRA, and GRA can share with the committee. So I wish to appeal to the Auditor General to take account of this in the law and reflect it in their reports, the legal provisions that allows these companies not to pay taxes until they start producing, and so that it does not keep appearing in as an infraction. However, Mr. Chairman, I want to assure you that our agencies, the Ministry of Finance and Controlling Accountant General, are actively monitoring the operations and the disbursement of the petroleum funds. And we also taking into considerations the other suggestions that have been provided by the Auditor General. And we just want to assure you that moving forward, there are so many things that we believe that would not appear in the Auditor General's report as infractions, looking at the way we are working together to make this happen. So with these few words, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you. And our technical people are here from the various agencies and also Bank of Ghana. And so they will take the specific questions that relate to their agency or Bank of Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Minister, for your opening remarks. We'll take note of the issues that you have raised as members probe further for more information on that. So, colleagues.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission, as discussed, may I be excused to?
Maybe there will be a question on what policy you have just said. Okay. Let's clear that one, then you can take leave of us.
Thank you.
Honorable.
Chairman, thank you. Honorable Member, thank you very much for the opening remarks. I have cited a letter from Ghana Gas regarding, dated 7th December, this letter, regarding the actual outstanding amount as at 31st December 2020. But you see that on page 18, Chairman, on page 18 of the report, under paragraph 1.3, the ministry is still dealing with 334 million as if that is actually what's outstanding, but the company says it's actually 434 million. Yes. Yes, in the table, under table 6, under paragraph 1, subparagraph 3, the matters that she just addressed. I was hoping that you speak to the actual amount of money that the company indicates as being outstanding, which is, according to them, in paragraph 2 of the letter, actually paragraph 3 of the letter, reference is made to paragraph 31 of the report. Can you note that as per Ghana National Gas Company's GNGC records, the total gas lifting outstanding as of 31st December 2020 is 434.28 million instead of 334.26 million, as stated in the report. Yet, so if you can kindly have recourse to this, then we can reconcile the figures.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, before I allow GMPC to come in, you stated that per the letter, the date for the balance you are holding is 31st December 2020. And per the Auditor General's reports, the date for this 334 is 31st December 2019. So clearly, I mean, this is correct, and what you are also holding may be correct, but there's a 1 year time lag. So it's possible that within that year, some monies have accrued. But this is for 31st December 2019, and the letter you have in your hand states 31st December 2020.
Chairman, yes,
GMC can also add some, yes, but for the figures, I think that is how it is, and because this is 2019, the other one is 2020.
Okay, Chairman, I fell into the same dilemma, but then I got convinced that the report we are actually considering is for 31st December 2020. Yes. So it's 31st December 2020. That's why I'm asking for the clarifications.
I'm sure the auditors are here so they can confirm whether it is 2019 or 2020. Since this was quoted by the auditors, it's in the Auditor General's reports.
Well, I think that the report we are considering is 2020. If you look at page 28, the income and expenditure account, which was signed by Deloitte and Touche, is 2020. So we are looking at 2020 accounts and 2020 report. You know, the Auditor General look at the audited account for 2020 and reported on it. So it's 2020.
Mr. Chairman, but when you look at 1.3, it says outstanding amounts due from gas operations increased from 308 million in 2018 to 334 million as at 31st December 2019. That's what the report states here.
That one you're right. Because it's a status report on outstanding findings. So it's actually, that finding is for 2019, but you have not taken action on it. So they are repeating it in 2020 report, that no action has been taken on it. So the period is 2019.
Chairman, let's look at page 10. Page 10, paragraph 31. I think that is where the Ghana Gas letter is emanating from. Page 10, paragraph 31. Because
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, GNPC had wanted to make an intervention on this, on the same. Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the mother report. Yeah, because this copy is lacking a number of pages. Oh, is it? No, this one. Yeah, I went through. I couldn't find it. Maybe I wasn't given. I brought all of these, hoping it was, and I haven't found it yet. Anyway, I'll look around.
It's okay, let's hear.
Yeah, PC.
Yes, Honorable Chair, just wanted to explain that, I mean, those numbers will have to be looked at carefully. This report has to do with payment into the Petroleum Holding Fund. As we all know, most of the gas are produced, including those of the contractors, are all sold to government. So in the books of Ghana Gas, they may have outstanding that may not, that may not necessarily all belong to the PHF, but some of them may be outstanding that are payable to the contractors. So just thought that I needed to clarify that. And we do...
Come again. I didn't quite follow you.
So unlike crude oil, where each party sells their own crude oil, when it comes to that of gas, all the gas is sold to Ghana. So every gas that is sold includes portions that go to the contractors and those that belong to the state, the equity and the royalty. Now what I'm saying is that when Ghana Gas gives you a number, that number contains both the royalty copy and payables due to the contractors. So in reconciling the numbers, we need to segregate those that are payable into the PHF and those that are payable into the contractors. So just thought that I needed to clarify that.
Yeah, so we need to know the letter from Ghana Gas.
Yes.
What constitutes the figure they are talking about? Does it include a portion that belongs to the contractors, or this is a portion that belongs to government?
Yes.
We need to find out about that.
Yes.
Do we have Ghana Gas? Yeah, so Ghana Gas, can you come on board, please? No, let her finish. Ghana Gas, have you taken the oath? Okay, clerk, do that for us.
I, Ajua Oyaku, swear by the Almighty God.
Swear by the Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
That the evidence I shall give before this committee.
Touching the matter in issue.
Touching the matter in issue.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but the truth.
And nothing but the truth.
So help me God.
So help me God.
So if you can introduce yourself and then respond to the question.
Honorable Chair, my name is Ajua Oye Akwe. I'm a manager in Treasury at Ghana Gas. To address the issue, the amount that we stated in our letter is the amount outstanding we know is supposed to be paid to GMPC. So as Mr. Dazi rightly said, it may include what has to go to government and the other contractors as well.
I'm sorry, please, if you can repeat the answer again.
Okay, so I was saying that the amount we have quoted is the amount that is supposed to be paid to GMPC. And as Mr. Dad rightly said, from their reconciliation, they will be able to tell what should go to government and what should go to the other contractors. But we have stated what we know is outstanding as payable to GMPC.
Do you often do reconciliation?
Yes, sir.
Between Ghana Gas and GMPC?
Yes, sir.
When was the last time you did reconciliation?
Well, we've just recently done, I think last month or 2 months ago.
Last month. So Ghana Gas, you also have that record. GMPC, you also have that record.
Yes, please.
GMPC, can you respond to that?
Yes, sir. So, Honorable Chair, we do. Probably not to preempt questions that will come as part of the audit findings. This figure that is quoted here is right. But since 2019, government took a policy that we zerorize royalty and copy payment. And so technically, till the production of OCTP started, there hasn't been any amount due to payable into the PHF outside this figure that we have here.
So it means that the two figures are in dispute. You need to reconcile again for the exact amount to be established.
Honorable Chair, the 334 which is quoted here is amount payable into the PHF.
Yes.
The difference between what Ghana Gas is quoted,
yeah,
and the figure contained here,
yes,
is amount due to the contractors. And those are reconciliations that we do every time.
No, but Ghana Gas is saying that their figure of 434 does not include anything to contractors.
They wouldn't know. Ghana Gas wouldn't know. It's GMPC that will give the breakdown of what is due to the contractors.
No, but if you're doing a reconciliation and they are part of the reconciliation, they should know that this portion does not belong to them. But they are claiming that everything belongs to them. You are saying that part of that is for the contractors. Something must be cleared here.
No, Honorable Chair.
You are two agencies working in common interests. So you should be able to establish what belongs to who. If you're unable to do that.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, if I can explain. You know, Ghana Gas, we didn't know the breakdown of the amounts payable to the various parties because the gas is given to them wholesale. So we, in our books, we invoice them for gas that has been given to them. It is when payment is made that GMPC then makes the segregation as to which amount is payable into the Petroleum Holding Fund and which amount is payable to the contractors. So as far as their books are concerned, the figure they have quoted is right. But the breakdown as to which amount goes into the Petroleum Holding Fund and which is payable to the contractors is between government and then GNPC.
So Uganda Gas not aware of this procedure?
They are aware, but it's not their responsibility. It's GNPC and government's responsibility. Because
no, Ghana Gas, it is not clear that you are not entitled to the 434 as you claim, because the difference between that and the 334 is not for Ghana Gas.
That's an amount owed to GM. That's an amount we have to pay GMPC. So then GMPC will now go ahead and
share
between the parties that need.
Petroleum Holding Fund and the contractors.
Yes, sir.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, my second clarification is in respect of a same table, the last paragraph regarding penalties accruing on this outstanding amount is estimated at 17.15 billion. But I see the amount outstanding as in millions. I know penalties may have compound interest calculation, so if they can actually confirm that this is actually the figure. Chairman.
Honorable Chair, that's the calculated figure, but we have a peculiar issue. And the issue is the off-takers of the gas, the power sector players who use the gas for power generation, do not pay in full. I mean, the reason why we have this outstanding is because gas has been supplied for power generation for which payment has been made. So really what it is we can calculate those figures, but what it will amount to is government basically paying itself, because most of these bills, most of the outstanding gas bills are paid by government. So it will be akin to government borrowing money to pay itself.
The question asked, if it's government paying money to itself, is a question based on the law.
Yeah, Honorable Chair, yes, that's what I said. That figure is right. That's the calculated penalty due.
Yeah, but who is supposed to pay that penalty?
Technically, so it should be, technically it should be paid by the off-takers of the gas for late payment, because they are supposed to pay on time. So if they do not pay and there are any penalties attached to late payment, that should be passed on to them.
Let's read the law. It's talking about Section 3(4) of the Petroleum Revenue Management Act. Section 3 says payment into Petroleum Holding Fund. Payment into the Petroleum Holding Fund. And then 3(4) says where the liability of an entity to make payments is not discharged or on or before the due dates, the entity shall pay as a penalty an additional 5% of the original amount for each day of default, or the default rate established under any other law, whichever is higher. Now, let's establish that entity. The entity shall pay the penalty. The amount, once we do not have any other rate established in any other law, we will go by the 5%. The 5% of the original amount payable each day. The original amount here is going to be the 334, because this is coming from the earlier amount. Is it the 334 or the surface rental amount of 1.6? If it's 1.6 million and they are paying 5% every day for the period that the payment was not effected, that amounted to the $17.175 billion. If we have that money, then we are rich. Oh. No, for 5% for every day. The figure can be correct. The figure can be correct. You are paying let's say you are paying 5%. Order. Honorable members, why? You are paying 5% on 1.6 million for each day. So we don't know the duration. Whether it's 1 year, 2 years, we don't know. So it's possible. Okay? But let's establish that entity. Which entity is supposed to pay, to make payment into the Petroleum Holding Fund? Ghana GMPC, can you help us?
Honorable Chair, it's a very difficult question to answer, because we're dealing with all state institutions. I mean, GMPC buys the gas from the contractors. Part of that gas, the royalty and the CAPI payment, should go into the Petroleum Holding Fund. Some of the gas is given to Ghana Gas to sell. Some of them are sold directly to the power producer, VRA, and they generate power and then give the power to ECG. ECG sells the power to consumers. Consumers are supposed to pay to ECG for ECG to pay out the value chain. And so if there's a problem with that payment, obviously Ghana Gas GMPC will not receive full payment for the gas that has been supplied. And so our ability to then pay into the Petroleum Holding Fund then becomes an issue. And so that's the real challenge that I alluded to earlier. And so whether it's Ghana Gas or GMPC, the fact of the matter is that we have companies that owe us and they've not paid for many years. And so it becomes a huge issue for us to be able to meet those commitments.
Let me come to the auditors. the penalty of 17.175 billion. Auditors, can you assist the committee on which, first of all, can you confirm if the figure is in billions? Audit Service, can you confirm if the figure is in billion or is in million? Do we have the officers who did the audit? Do we have them here?
They are yet to be around.
Come again.
Deloitte did the audit on behalf of the audit service, and they are on their way.
They're on their way?
Yes.
Did you give them time?
We did, sir.
What time did you give them?
Sir, the correspondence that went out indicated 12. It was later that it changed, so we notified them accordingly.
So, change to what time?
To 9.
So they are aware of 9?
Yes.
And they are now on their way? It's not almost 10:30?
She's here. She's here.
Good. Madam, introduce yourself quickly, and then answer the first question. I'll repeat the question to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm Dr. Sekum.
Speak to the mic, please.
I'm Dr. Sekum, an audit manager at Deloitte & Touche.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Take a very deep breath. Okay, audit manager, Deloitte & Touche. Is it Deloitte & Touche or, yeah, Deloitte & Touche. It's not Deloitte alone. Deloitte & Touche, yes. Yes. If you can take the reports and look at page 18. The page 18, paragraph 1.3. It's talk about non-receipt of revenue, into bracket, Ghana gas and surface rentals. Now, you indicated that the outstanding amount due from Ghana gas operations increased to 334.2 million from 308.5 as at December 2019. Then amount due from surface rentals amounted to 1.6 million, that for 2019, and then 2018, 1.5 million. Now, the penalty accruing on this outstanding amount is 17.175 billion. I want you to confirm if the figure is actually billion or million. Billion. Can you tell us the duration on which you did the computation?
Please, this is the interest compounded from inception of sales of gas to Ghana Gas Company.
And so from what point, from what date to what date?
Okay. Honorable Chairman, so we started the audit from 2019, 2020. So there were accumulated debts before we took over. So we computed the interest on the accumulated balances, so dates.
Yeah, so I want to know the penalty, which is 5% of the amount. For how long? Is it for the entire 2019 and the entire 2020? or what?
No, please, it's the debt stock from the inception of sales made to Ghana Gas Company Limited. So what I'm saying is that for 2019 and 2020, we did a top-up, compounded interest based on the outstanding balance. Outstanding balance.
Yeah, but when you are compounding the interest, you should cover a period. You should cover a period, number of, because it's daily penalty. How many days? There was a outstanding balance before you took over the audit in 2019.
Yes,
let's assume that that outstanding balance is, let's say, $200 million. Now, maybe you know for that 200 million how long it had been in the books. So you compared the penalty on it.
Yes,
that is the information we want to know.
Honorable, please, I'll need to give you the accurate figures.
So we'll give you time.
Yes, please.
To go through your working papers,
yes.
Then give us the information.
Yes, please.
Because we want to establish that the 17 billion is correct.
Yes,
Chairman, particularly when in the report the status is that these amounts remain outstanding. So it means there is an established amount outstanding upon which the 5% penal rate has been applied on daily basis until the production of this report. And that is what is of concern to the committee. We want to be sure that the 17.1 billion that is $1 billion that is suggested to be owed the state is actually the reflection of the true facts.
So we'll come back to that, but we can now go. Honorable members, this one, I know you have read the report, so whatever issue you have, you can just raise up your hand. I'll call you ask. So let me call Honorable Yusuf.
Chairman, I'm done. Thank you.
Yusuf.
Chairman, thank you. Chairman, I'm taking you to page 17, table 6, 2.2, corporate tax revenues. I think the minister appealed to the audit general to avert his mind to the law that only taxes companies that generate income, right? But I find that very interesting, because if you read the report here, they are saying that there was no information available from GRA, and so that was why they concluded on this matter as is stated in this report. What is the relationship between GRA and the Auditor General's Department? That is the first issue. Now, if you look at the second paragraph, with your permission, Chairman, let me read. We did not also cite a reconciliation or audit reports from Ghana Revenue Authority indicating the taxable income, expected funds from the upstream companies, and the status of outstanding amounts, if any. What is the status of this particular recommendation or observation? Thank you. So these are two issues.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Looking at the first paragraph, it mentioned that 35 companies pay corporate, out of the 35, only 4 pay corporate tax into the Petroleum Holding Fund. And as the minister rightly said, they are the ones who are producing crude oil, then they sell and make income and therefore pay corporate taxes into the Petroleum Holding Fund. But the 31 others have not found any crude oil. They are either in the exploration stage or development stage. So they don't have anything to sell in order to generate revenue from which to pay corporate tax. So when the auditors came, they were more interested in those who pay into the PHF And so the focus more was on the 4 who are producing and therefore make income and therefore pay corporate tax into the PHF. So if they had asked us about the 31 others, would have produced information that were available.
So what you are saying is that when they came, they didn't ask for information on the 31. They were focusing on the 4. Is that what you are saying?
Yes.
Because that is contrary to what you have stated here. If you can avert your mind to the second, the last part of the report, the first part, the last part of it.
Yes.
And with your permission, let me read. There was also no information from the GRA on whether the remaining 31 companies had taxable income or not. And I'm saying that if you had provided them with the information, they wouldn't have captured this here.
Mr. Chairman, you are right. Maybe they did not see enough information to back the kind of answer they were looking for. So, but currently, as we speak, we have the data, we have the information that we can share. So, respectfully, I would want us to move on. Thank you.
Okay, Vice Chairman.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's interesting that Ghana Gas, you write this letter, but if you look at page 14, if you go to paragraph 51, talking about overdue payments, and if you look at the, let me go to paragraph 54. GMPC is saying that we can confirm we have sent several reminders to Ghana National Gas Company to no avail. And 55 says we have not received responses from Ghana Gas on their long outstanding indebtedness to the Petroleum Holding Fund. But there was a lady over here from Ghana Gas who said he just had a reconciliation with GMPC. Did you resolve these issues with GMPC when you met them about a month ago?
Honorable, the reconciliation was to reconcile the amount that was outstanding as owed to GMPC. Not, I think, referring to the report, we were referring to letters requiring us to pay the funds into to GMPC, so GMPC can pay into the Petroleum Holding Fund. And that is what we were saying. We have not cited the letter that was being referred to, hence our inability to respond.
Well, the fact is that GMPC, the Ghana Gas does not have the money to pay GMPC for what they owe GMPC. Now the question is, why is Ghana Gas not having the money to pay GMPC? And that question will come back to the Deputy Minister of Finance, Honorable Abina. Why is GMPC not having the money? They produce gas, they sell the gas is used to run the thermal plants, they produce power, they sell to ECG. ECG sell this power to you and I. Me, I've been paying my own.
Parliament is also owing.
And me, I'm most of the time not even on the national grid. I produce my own power, solar. So why is Ghana Gas not having the money? Minister of Finance, respond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, this should be a question for Ministry of Energy and not Ministry of Finance. But the truth is this. Mr. Chairman, let me continue. But the truth is this. GMPC explained very well that as we sell the gas to the various players, ECG is not able to collect enough revenue. Hence, they are not able to pay. So there are outstandings, and this has compounded over time. So I know it's a big issue that government is looking at. But currently, as we speak, this is the situation. But Mr. Chairman, they sell the gas to the various players. The various players are not able to collect enough revenue to pay back what they have taken. And that is the reason why we find ourselves here. But it's something that government is seriously looking at, and I believe that we will bring some finality to this situation. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Chairman.
What is government doing? The effort government is making to ensure that
Mr. Chairman, you remember the cash waterfall mechanism that government introduced so that we collect the money and government sort of distributes it to the various players in proportions, amounts proportionate to what they bring on the table. But this is still not enough. Even though this is helping, this is still not enough. So government is looking at it holistically. But currently, we are faced with this situation. And this is what government has done through the cash waterfall mechanism. But I know we have to do more to bring a finality to this situation.
I think that that mechanism is to prevent accumulation of more debts. So maybe if that mechanism is working, it will not accumulate more debts again, but there must be an effort to collect the debts, the outstanding one. My question is, well, what is government doing about that, the outstanding debts?
Mr. Chairman, that is what government uses part of the ESLA levies for. But like I said, we know that it's not enough. It's not adequate.
If you know that is not enough, what are you doing about it?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, policies are made by the minister, and so I know that they are working together with Ministry of Energy and the relevant stakeholders, and we will come out with, the minister will come out with directives that we believe and policies that will help us in this area, Mr. Chairman.
Are you trying to shift responsibility at this time, or you want to dodge the question?
Mr. Chairman, I will not dodge the question.
Then respond to the question.
But it's very, very
You are
clear.
here to represent the minister.
I'm representing the minister.
So you have to respond to questions that the minister should have responded to.
Mr. Chairman, I have stated certain things that government is doing, to help. One is with the ESLA levies, and the other one is the cash waterfall mechanism. But we still have the problem. So what I'm saying is that there's a collective stakeholder engagement to really address the fundamental issues. And once we haven't done that, Mr. Chairman, we will work with what we have now.
How long will that engagement take? How long?
Mr. Chairman, respectfully, I cannot sit here and give us a timeline.
You are doing that engagement, it's not me. So it means that you have not set any target for yourself?
Mr. Chairman, yes, government is doing the engagement, and I believe that in due course, we will give you the timelines for that. But clearly, something is being done, but we believe that we should look at it holistically, and that is what we are doing aside the remedies that have been put in place. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable members, question. Honorable Bauer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think all these things that we are talking about is as a result of the delay in the tax audits. And I would like to find out, because if you look at the page 11 on the paragraph 33 up to 35, is saying that we know that the general delay in the final tax audits of the upstream and midstream petroleum companies, as required by Section 36 of the Revenue Administration Act. There have been delays in the tax audits. Why? Why so? And then what is the status now?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I'll take this question. Honorable Chair, the tax audits for these upstream petroleum companies for 2010 to 2013 took place and ended somewhere in 2016. But there was a lot of disputes and back and forth. But eventually, there was a settlement in 2017, October, and these taxes were paid. After the settlement, GNRA began the audits of the next tranche, which was from 2014 to 2017. And this had delayed because of the first one, which was not settled. But once it was settled, then the way was paid for the second one to resume. Now that one also ended, and there were a lot of disputes again on this one. Currently, as I speak, even though it's not completely resolved, we have started the audits for ones up to 2020, and it's currently ongoing. Now, for the one up to 2017, which I said had completed and were still being resolved, the upstream petroleum companies had raised a number of issues, especially in regards to the interpretation of the Petroleum Agreement, and then the interpretation as far as the tax laws are concerned. Ghana Revenue Authority has stated its position on this interpretation. The Minister of Energy has also stated his position on this interpretation. We've gone ahead to seek the opinion of the Attorney General also on this, and his opinion is in alignment with the opinion of the Minister of Energy and Ghana Revenue Authority. Following this, we have proceeded to engage the upstream petroleum companies to ensure that they settled the outstandings from the audits. There's one of them we have done a settlement and has been paid. There are others we are still in the settlement process. There's also one that has proceeded to go to arbitration, international arbitration, based upon the interpretation. And so we are engaging them to try and resolve this one. If we are not able to resolve it through the negotiations, then we'll have to pursue our necessary measures as per the tax laws. But in the meantime, the one up to 2020 is also ongoing, so that it doesn't delay. And then once we are able to resolve the ones that are within the 2018, whatever interpretation that we will give to it shall become applicable also in the one up to 2020. So currently that is the status of the audits.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to find out, it's like in every audit regime there are disputes. So what are the nature of the disputes, and how much so far is the amount in dispute?
Mr. Chairman, in fact, in terms of the total amount that we are talking about here, I think that we will make them available as and when when we are given the opportunity to. But these amounts, there are three different components, and all the three different components have its various interpretation. And then overall, there's also the issue about the interpretation between whether it is the laws applicable to the Petroleum Agreement that should apply, or it is the Revenue Administration Act that should apply. So that is the broader argument. Now, once you resolve the broader argument, then you go into the details of the actual tax types and the actual infractions that are in there, and then you have to now repeat. So once the broader argument is resolved, for the individual ones, it is easier to come to a settlement agreement.
Thank you, Reverend. Can you give us can you let us know these three components? I mean, their nature, how are they?
Three components. One relates to interest on supposed borrowings of these oil companies. In other words, they are supposed to have borrowed money and then they have paid interest on them. And then GRA says that we don't consider these ones as loans, and therefore we are not agreeing to the loans, the interest. Number two relates to some transactions that we think that are not arm's length in relation to promotion and sales and things like that. And we think that between them, the oil companies and their principals is not completely at arm's length. And then the third one relates to branch profit tax, which relates to the fact that they are looking at their setup here as branches and therefore repatriates to the main company outside Ghana. And then we are saying that since they are operating here, we should see them as companies incorporated here, even though in principle it's not incorporated here, so that we can tax the profits that they are making rather than they transferring it and consolidating it outside. Those are the three major things that makes up, and the majority of the liabilities are in the third category, which I mentioned, the branch profit tax. And then the other two is split between the issue about interest and then the issue about particular expenditures that we are disallowing. So then, as I said, apart from these three, then the global picture of interpretation of Petroleum Act, the PA, and the Revenue Administration Act. And there's the broader one, which I said, the umbrella one, which I said that we have received the opinion of the Attorney General, and we are ready to enforce as per. In our attempt to enforce, that has also resulted in one of them going for arbitration. And as I speak, we are also collecting our responses to give to the Attorney General to pursue it as necessary.
Thank you, Chairman. My final one. So far, how much have you been able to recover from these audits?
Honorable Chairman, I can say that we have recovered some substantial amounts. As I said, I'm not too sure in terms of the details as at this moment, but I'm not saying so sure in terms of the disclosure. But we do have all the details in terms of, for example, the recent one was about $100 million that was paid by one of them based upon the settlement that we had to come to. And then currently in one of the settlements that one of them has agreed to pay another $30 million. So there are substantial amounts, and I can provide to the House the details of all the outstandings. I know them. I can provide that to the House at the right time so that there wasn't any issue about.
Mr. Chairman, I think this is the right time that we need. Yeah. So you can, Reverend, if you can tell us when, I mean, as soon as practicable, when we can have it. I think this is the right time.
Okay, I will plead that because of some sensitivities, if the figures are given to the team out of camera, and then if they decide that they want to, I think that would be a bit, because there are individual companies involved, there are individual figures involved, and I think that it would be good to be given the opportunity to present the data directly to you.
I'm done.
Honorable Osunyaku.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I just want to take them back to page 11, another tax review of upstream oil company. I just want us to look at section 6C of the Petroleum Management Amendment Act 2015. If you come to page 17, just reading corporate tax revenues, and you have indicated in the report that out of 35 upstream companies, let's say registered companies, only about 4 of them were able to.
Honorable member, we have addressed that issue already.
Okay, maybe I came late.
They've addressed that issue. Is that the remaining 31 are not producing yet, so there is no income on which they can tax.
Yes, Chairman, just to offer a simple thought on something he made a point to. My concern is if a company is domiciled somewhere and they set up branches, none of the countries where the branches are can assume that power or that position as being incorporated in their country. Outside the likes of the US, where there are several states, if Apple is domiciled in California, Washington cannot then assume to be charging Apple for rates as if Apple is in California, in Washington. So the premise that they are using to fight or to try and, as it were, abuse the tax powers should be carefully looked at. If I'm making sense, I hope you understand.
Have you established that they are abusing their tax powers?
Well, trying to. Let me say trying to. Forgive me. So that is something I think is of concern, and for our tax reputation, we need to be very mindful because I think it goes into so many things. In the initial stages when they were being registered here, whatever registration processes they went through and has been agreed on needs to be binding and can't be changed midstream. Thank you very much.
Don't forget that the GRA is applying the tax laws of Ghana. We have resident and non-resident persons. Okay, so definitely, if they are making a demand, they would have read the tax law very carefully and know that there is something that needs to be charged on this person. The person here referred to company as well. So I just want to draw your attention to that. Yeah, Honorable Sampson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to add my voice to the oil sector. As far as the tax laws are concerned, is very, very complicated. As my boss, the Commissioner General, just explained, it is not the way you see it as a normal thing, because when we are talking of a PE, a permanent establishment, an agent, it's a different body altogether. So I was just want to plead that as to go into that area, it's a specialized area. It is not the way we are discussing it. So I think his explanation, I think we can leave it there and then we'll continue with our business, because you will not understand the way it is being audited. It is even the tax laws themselves are contradicting.
Okay. We'll learn a lot about that in very soon. Probably this weekend. We'll learn a lot about that.
Thank you, Chairman. My question is on page 4. Page 4. And I want to ask GMPC. What do they do? Or how do they verify? Well, paragraph 11. I want to find out how do you verify the cost that any Talo gives to you, based on which they calculate their qualifying. Am I clear? Qualifying interest. How do you verify? Because I understand that. Out of the operations of Talo and Ene, some amount is charged to Ghana, if I like GMPC. Who verifies that amount, or how do you verify it?
There's a question on the floor. Okay. So there's a question on the floor. You want to answer the question? You want to answer the question? No. If they don't understand the question, if they don't have the answer, understand the question, they will ask. You are not here to respond to that.
Honorable Chair, the contractor party together with GNPC, I mean, we have various committees that go through all the various aspects of the activities on the field. So, for instance, there's a finance committee that basically goes through a budget process, approves all expenditure, and then that recommendation is brought to the Joint Management Committee, which basically has all the members of the party. And once that is approved, that becomes the budget against which disbursements and other things are made. So there's a process that we go through, and it's akin to what you have for every normal company, even though it's various parties that come together. But the parties together agree on processes on how much is paid for each of the any of the activities. There are tenders that are given out for procurement and other things that are made. So basically that's what it is. When it comes to the technical activities, there's a technical committee that looks at all the technical decisions that have to be made. Those are interrogated, and then once there's consensus, those are also brought up to the Joint Management Committee, which GMPC chairs. And once we've agreed on decisions, that becomes then binding to the partnership as far as the operations in the fields are concerned.
Chairman, GMPC, I know, is a regulator, and therefore we're not really operating in the field.
Honorable Chair, we are not the regulator. PC is the regulator.
They are key stakeholders.
Yes,
Yes.
we are also party. We also hold stake on behalf of the state
Okay.
in the various producing fields.
My real question is, are you suggesting that these amounts are based on, if you like, budgets and estimates? Because I was expecting that some third party audit firm will actually look at these figures, the actual figures, not the estimates, so that what we are paying is actually actual cost, not what the third parties have agreed on as estimates or budget. I was thinking that should be the way to go.
So, Honorable Chair, so like I said, the partnership has its own process for vetting the numbers. Individually, the companies also have the auditors that go through the financials of the entities. And GRA and then PC also has oversight responsibility. So they also, at the end of the day, will go through the books and make sure that everything that has been agreed and everything that has been recorded is what it is. So there are various aspects to the audit process that go on as far as expenditure and other things in the operations of the fields are concerned.
Honorable Tufero.
Chairman, thank you very much. Chairman, that is exactly the point he made. I wanted to add that angle. Actually, the regulator is the Petroleum Commission. And the role of the Petroleum Commission is to vet the cost that the petroleum companies at the upstream level, they submit for claims and to be added as a petroleum cost, to be allowed for tax purposes and other issues that government has to deal with. So that rule, Petroleum Commission doesn't share at all. Even if they submit and GMPC, Joint Management Committee or whatever sit and approve, they still have to go and vet and audit. So they have instances where they disallow some of the costs. And then,
are you a member of the board?
I was a member.
Oh,
and
okay. That's where you got the information from.
Area, yes.
Okay, that's good. Honorable members, any question? Now, let's turn to page 7 of the report under chapter 2. I'm curious. I want to know under table 2, the second lifting in 2020. Price per lifting in US dollars. The second one, the price is 12.32. Is there any reason assigned to that? Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I also, asked the same question when I saw the pricing. So GMPC provided a very good answer. I would want GMPC to do so. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, so this was during the period of COVID when we had issues, we had serious issues with demand and supply. So we saw prices plummet. And in the specific case of Jubilee, Jubilee is one of the crude that is produced from the Jubilee field. This is crude that is assessed, quoted and published by Platts. So this is what the market, the value the market put on it during the period of lifting of this particular cargo. So it is the right figure.
Apart from COVID, the effect of COVID, have you gone further to find out the real reason why the price quoted should be so low to this extent? Because in the first quarter, it was 56.35. Then it dropped to 12.32. If it is COVID affected every part of the world. There will not be production. So we rather expect the prices should go up. Or there wasn't consumption as well.
Honorable Chair, you know, during that period, there was almost a complete shutdown of the world economy. Most countries, Ghana, we had shut down. And so economic activity globally was kind of subdued. And that was when crude oil, I mean, to the extent that even producers were paying people to store their crude for them. So we had a bad period. I mean, that was, I think, period of between March and April, if I'm not too mistaken. But it's globally known that during that period, crude oil prices plummeted.
Does that give any information to the managers of the economy, Honorable Deputy Minister, that relying on the revenue from the oil sector for many things, if anything happened and there is a shutdown and the fall or no demand for our oil is going to affect us, does that give you anything that you can go by? Deputy Governor is also here. You can also help in giving answer to this question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And that is why government wants to diversify and is diversifying its revenues. And when you look at the 2022 budget, government came up with a number of revenue measures that we believe, if it goes through Parliament, it will help us to raise revenue from diverse sources, not just the petroleum revenues. Government came up with a fees and charges amendment that is going to be laid before Parliament, and government has also come up with the e-levy that is also going to be laid before Parliament, and there are several other revenue measures that government believes that if Parliament as a whole will allow this to go through, we will be able to raise revenues so that we do not depend on just our oil revenues, but diverse sources of revenue that brings in various advantages, and to help us raise the needed revenues domestically to help government pursue its agenda for this year and then 2022.
Honorable Deputy Minister, you think that I have given up the platform to advertise your revenue policy measures? Honorable Minister, do you think that a substitute to a natural resource where government can explore and get revenue, a substitute to that is to tax the poor taxpayer, poor Ghanaians? Do you think so?
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the activities, the economic activities, the infrastructure, and any other program that government puts out every year benefits both the rich and the poor equally in a way. And so government is saying that irrespective of where you come from, let's all contribute something based on our might to make sure that we raise the revenues domestically to help us achieve our programs and activities that we set for ourselves every year. We all want to see good roads, we all want to see very good hospitals, and we want to fund the free SHS and make it more robust. So, Mr. Chairman, all these things, we will need revenue to do that. So everybody, irrespective of your background and where you are coming from, contribute your bits in the form of taxes to make sure that we raise the necessary monies and be able to carry out the activities and programs of government.
Honorable Minister, I think that the answer to my question is a very simple one. I don't need any long essays. Do you think that substitute to a natural resource way of raising revenue is to tax the poor Ghanaian? That's my question. Do you think? Yes, no?
Mr. Chairman, I answered it exactly so. And what I said is that we all have different backgrounds. We all come from different backgrounds. Our strengths are not the same. What you may see as poor, somebody may see as rich. And we all have to contribute our bits, irrespective of the amount we have, to make sure that we all demand the same pie from government. And in wanting to demand from government, you also have to do something. So, Mr. Chairman, to somebody, you are a very rich man. Maybe to your wife asks for money, you are not able to give. Say, oh, my husband is a poor man. But to somebody, you are a very rich man, and to me, you are a very rich man. So it's relative. But what government is saying is that let us all, irrespective of where we come from, contribute our bit. So there's nothing like a poor person or a rich person. They are all relative. But we all consume what government produces. So government says, help me, let me help you to make Ghana better.
I'm very much surprised that some members on this committee are very excited that we are taxing poor Ghanaians. You are very excited. Honorable Tufero, I haven't called you. But I can see that you are very excited for taxing the poor man. To do a little momo, a person must be tired. You are excited about that.
Very much.
Now, Honorable Minister, my next question to you.
If your questions are finished, I have some questions.
No, I have more questions. My next question, please. I have more questions. I asked everybody. You say you don't have any questions. I gave you the floor. You ask your question. Now it is my turn. Allow me to ask my question. Then I'll end this discussion here. Because I gave the floor to all of you. You said no more questions. Honorable Minister, somewhere in the budget, your minister says that we have 30 million Ghanaians and only 2.4 million people are paying tax. Is that the case?
Direct tax. He said direct tax.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, what the minister put out there was that out of the 30.8 million, not all of them are above 18 years, one, and it's a fact. But what he said was that 2.8 million pay direct taxes. Others pay taxes indirectly, but those who pay direct taxes are about 2.8 million. That was what he said.
How many Ghanaians are supposed to pay direct tax before 2.8 or 2.4 are paying?
Any person who earns income.
It's your duty to know. You are the manager of the economy.
So
you have to raise the revenue. How many Ghanaians qualify to pay tax who earn income and they are not paying?
Some may be above 18 years, Mr. Chairman, but they are not working. So you cannot count them as those.
I'm not saying you count those people. I only ask a simple question. How many are they before 2.4 are paying? Simple question.
About 11 million.
Mr. Chairman, as for the direct figures, I'll ask the GRA to help us with the direct figures as to how many people are eligible to pay taxes.
Oh,
for
GRA.
the direct taxes.
GRA, can you come in? How many Ghanaians qualify to pay direct tax before only 2.4 are paying?
Honorable Chairman, the most reliable data that we have currently, is based on the Ghana card registration. The Ghana card registration, out of the 12 million or the 15 million that we had who were not paying taxes, another 3 million are either below the age of 18 or are above such that they don't pay direct taxes. That leaves you with 9 million. The 9 million, we have categorized them, and we have 6 million of the 9 million who are in the low income category and are liable to pay taxes. There are 3 million, almost 3 million, who are in the middle income category and they are liable to pay taxes. And there is 47,000 in the high income and professional category who are also liable to pay taxes, direct taxes, who are not currently paying. And we have the data available, and we have.
So it is out of that number that 2.4 are paying.
Yes, Honorable.
What are you doing to ensure that those other people pay tax?
Honorable Chairman, we have a complete action plan that we have towards this. We have what we have started doing, which you call lead generation. What I mean by lead generation is that the statistics I gave you have given us lists as to those people that are in the category that can pay. And our next level and our next action plan on this lead generation is the engagement. So basically what we are doing is that we are engaging all these 9 million people, and we are focusing on the high, and then we will come down later on to the low. And just as you were saying, so what we are doing is ensuring that they are all filing and compliant, and we are using testing, visiting, and telephone calls to do this. And then the next level we'll go to is then collection. So we are moving from lead generation to filing or complying in terms of making your data available, and then we move on to collection. And this is the plan that we have put together, and we'll be executing. In fact, we have started executing, but the proper execution will follow in the coming year. And we have our own idea as to how much we expect to be able to generate from this in the coming, over the next 3 years.
So will you agree with me that it is long overdue in working to get these people who earn income in Ghana but are not paying? Will you agree with me?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. We need to start from somewhere.
Will you agree with me, yes, before you proceed with the explanation? Or no, then you proceed with the explanation? That's how we do it in this committee. Yes or no,
I
then you
used to be
follow
on this
that.
committee too, so I know what you do and
I
what
ask you a
don't
question.
do.
Will you agree with me? Yes, no, then you explain.
I just want to put my facts down, and then I can conclude by agreeing.
Can't you just respond, agree with me or disagree with me?
You hear from the answer.
No.
You hear from the answer.
I agree with you, then you explain. I disagree with you, then you explain.
Mr. Chairman.
Will you agree with me that it is long overdue for these actions? Honorable Tufero.
Yeah.
This is my committee. But honorable member, is that how you behave in committees? You talk anyhow. No, you spoke. That is why he called. You are drawing your attention. Is that why we can open your mouth and say anything in a committee meeting? That doesn't show any good character. Honorable Minister, can you respond to my question now?
Mr. Chairman, your question again.
My question is that will you agree with me that it is not overdue in working to get these people who earn income but are not paying taxes to government? It is long overdue. Will you agree with me? You may agree or disagree with me.
Mr. Chairman, yes, people who work ought to pay taxes. And so every means that this government needs to take to make sure we bring them onto the tax net, we will do. And we began with the National Identification Registration. And this has brought quite a number of people, close to about 10 million more people that we have identified, and then we're going to go after and encourage them to do the needful. So yes, we should have, it's something that we should have done, and thankfully it is being done now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do you think that any question coming from me is to attack you, and you are feeling reluctant to answer the question the way you should?
No, Mr. Chairman, I said yes, and I gave explanation as to why it is so.
I said this because of your earlier action. You didn't want to respond.
Mr. Chairman, I said yes.
We all want to help the system to work. We want to help the system to work.
Mr. Chairman, I know we are all concerned about this nation and our revenue levels, and together we can make it happen.
Thank you very much. Just for clarity's sake, Madam Minister, the e-levy, is it the case that the rich will also be taxed? Because it looks like emphasis is being placed on poor Ghanaians, but per the data available to the ministry, I know and I've seen that the rich engage in a lot of transactions on e-levy. We need that confirmation from you. Thank you.
Minister.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, the e-levy is some kind of progressive tax such that you earn more or you send more and then you pay more. It's 1.75 on the transactions that you do. But in taking care of the people who are not, I don't want to use the word poor, but the people who for some reason or the other do not earn high incomes. That is why government has put in place a cap that if you do 100 Ghana cedis a day, cumulatively, you do 100 Ghana cedis a day, you are free from this 1.75 e-levy tax. But moving forward, beyond that, if you transact if you do any electronic transactions beyond 100 Ghana cedis a day, you will be taxed at 1.75. So it's more progressive. The more you send, the more you pay. But the issue is this: government has taken care of those who, for one reason or the other, do not earn high incomes, and that is why we have exempted those who do cumulatively 1 to 100 Ghana cedis a day.
Honourable Minister.
Yes, sir.
If I transfer 120 Ghana cedis, the 1.75%, which amount will you charge it?
We'll charge it on the 20 Ghana cedis, Mr. Chairman.
That is what I want to know.
Thank you.
So if I transfer, take note of that answer. If I transfer 120, I'll be charged on only the 26.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Ghanaians are listening and they are watching.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
If I transfer 1,000 Ghana cedis,
yes,
how much will I be charged on?
Mr. Chairman, 900 Ghana cedis, because the first 100 Ghana cedis and below is tax exempt.
If I transfer another 1,000 Ghana cedis to another person, how much will I be charged on? No, we need the thing to be made clear to Ghanaians.
Mr. Chairman,
I transfer another 1,000 Ghana the same day. How much will I be charged on?
You do 1,000 Ghana.
First one.
First one.
I'm charged on 900.
On the 900.
I do another 1,000.
You do another 1,000 Ghana cedis. You'll be charged on the 1,000 Ghana cedis.
But I'm doing that one to another person.
Yes, you'll be charged 1,000 Ghana cedis.
So the first, honourable members, the first 1,000 Ghana that I transferred, I'm charged on 900. If the person I transfer the money to decide to transfer that 1,000 he received, he decide to transfer 900 to another person, how much will you charge that person?
If the person who received the 1,000 decides to transfer
900 to another person,
if in a day the person hasn't done any transaction, the person will be charged on 800 Ghana cedis.
800.
Yeah.
Then that person received 900. He also decided to transfer 800 to another person. He will be charged on 700.
Mr. Chairman.
So that my 1,000, you are charging all this money on it, just in one day.
Mr. Chairman, what we are saying is this: if you transact, you do transactions electronically, that is when you are charged the 1.75.
Okay.
Chairman, please, a little clarification. Okay. If you say you are being charged on 900 Ghana, how much is it? How much is it to be charged on 900? How much is it? How much is it, please? I know, but we are educating the public, isn't it?
Honourable Samson. Yeah, I just want to take the committee back to page 12, 3.2. and then come to paragraph 45. You will see the 3.2 is non-receipt of revenue, gas and service rentals. When you come to 4.5, see penalties accrue on outstanding amount are estimated at 17 million. So I believe the figure is 17 million, but not $17 billion. That is what I just want you to It's 17 million. Because somewhere it was 17 billion. And if you convert $17 billion to Ghana cedis, that is 106 billion. That is why we were talking about accrued penalties for page 13. 45. So I think the correction there should be 17 million, but not 17 billion. When you go, I'm referring to the last paragraph there, the 1.3, the 8 where it was 17 billion. It is 17 million.
Okay, let's now come back to Deloitte. Have you gone through the page now? And with the new information coming, do you still hold that the penalty amount is 17 billion or is 17 million?
Yeah, Honorable Chairman, please, I've seen it. I have to check with the person and get back to you on this.
You still have to check it with your working papers?
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to ask GRA, the boss of GRA. There have been a lot of talk about the fact that professionals, when I'm talking about professionals, I'm talking about the doctors and the engineers and the lawyers are not paying taxes. And they themselves admit that they are not paying taxes. I want you to tell us what you are doing about it. Because for the talk, it has been going on for years. What are you doing about it so that they will also pay adequate taxes? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairman. I mentioned that from the data that we have currently, we have about 57,000 in that category. There are a number of action points that we have put together to ensure that we bring all these into the tax net and also to deepen how much they will pay. The first category is what I mentioned as far as using the data that we have to do the engagement and the compliance. But in addition, we are currently working on a data warehousing scheme which allows us to link our data to the various categories of data from third-party organizations. And in doing that, we'll be able to know the persons, let's say, for example, from DVLA and from his customs imports and things like that, and also from, so that based upon that, you're able to identify his actual worth and be able to then engage and tax. That's one of the elements that we are putting in place to ensure that all is put. Number three, we are also coming up with a scheme where we are engaging the Professional Bodies Association, so that through the professional bodies, we'll engage them on looking at the tax clearance certificate as a condition for members in good standing. So if we are able to engage them to that level, then without your tax clearance certificate, you will not be considered members in good standing. That will also force them to come. Now, on the issue of the tax clearance certificate, also, we are also working out a scheme where, for most of the, if you look at the law, it talks in certain areas, there are certain types of government services that the law states that you can either require a TIN or a tax clearance certificate to be able to access those facilities. In the past, the emphasis has been on TIN. But what we were moving on in the next year, this year coming, is to make sure that the emphasis move on from TIN to tax clearance certificate. We are making tax clearance certificate also easily accessible, so that if it becomes easily accessible, then when you go for such services, they will require the tax clearance certificate, not the TIN. And once they require that, you yourself will go and make sure that you are compliant, you're not going to enjoy that services. So we are actually moving to the point where we believe that they will come to us rather than even we chasing them. That's where the vision that we have.
Let me find out from the, I don't know who should respond to this. PIAC responded or wrote to us to indicate that the price, the unit price for Jubilee liftings are different from the PIAC one. Example on paragraph 20, page 11, no. Page 7, paragraph 20, the unit price per barrel is $56.35. That's the 53rd lifting. And the same lifting reported by PIAC on page 34 of their report quoted 56.27. What I'm saying is that if you look at page 7, table 2, 2020, the first lifting, which is actually the 53rd lifting, the report indicated the price per barrel at 56.35. Have you seen that one? Yeah. The PIAC is saying that in their reports for 2020, that's the PIAC report for 2020, the price they use is 56.27. Maybe this is just for information for the committee. But I see no reason why the prices quoted should be different.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, you are right. And so GMPC will speak to this because they give PIAC the numbers. So GMPC would want to speak to this to clarify any misconception. Okay. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, there shouldn't be any difference in the numbers. So we'll investigate and report back to the committee. I suspect probably in typing, somebody probably would have made a mistake. But these are the valuation and the invoices are sent to the central bank, to GRA and all the other parties. So these are numbers that are widely circulated. So I'll be surprised who different numbers will be reported. So we'll report and we'll check and come back to the committee this week.
All right, so I can take note of these outstanding issues. The GMPC need to report back to tell us what caused the difference in the figures. And then also, Deloitte and Touche need to look at their working papers and confirm whether the amount, which is a penalty, is 17 million or 17 billion dollars. Those are the two outstanding issues we have today. Honourable members, any other question? And, all right, so.
It's a comment. On the e-levy. In fact, oh no, it's a comment.
Then I'm ruling you out. I'm ruling you out.
I want to advise members.
Honorable member, you are out of order. You are out of order. Go to the marketplace and advertise your policy. Honorable members, that will be all for Ministry of Finance and the agencies, and then the GMPC, Ghana Gas, GRA, Controller and Accountant General, and others. You hear from the committee, from the report that will present to the floor for a decision. On that note, you are discharged.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I missed my meeting, but this meeting was worthwhile. Thank you very much.
This is more important than any other meeting.
I said yes. It's yes. So thank you very much.
All right, honorable members, we're supposed to meet the second agency, but we cannot meet them. So we'll adjourn sitting today to tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the phone. So we are expecting to meet 3 agencies tomorrow to look at 3 performance audit report of the Auditor General. So thank you very much for coming. See you tomorrow at 9.